Welcome to the Freedom CEO podcast. It's about becoming the chief decision maker over your life in order to step into a life of freedom. From business, health, wealth, charity, and giving back to just doing life on your own terms. I am your host, SheLeads. I am an award-winning activist, change maker, and a multifaceted impact entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in business, philanthropy, and health and wellness. In this space, I'm going to be bringing you insights, not just from me, but from incredible thought leaders around the globe to help you start making decisions towards living a life of freedom so you can live a life you love. Are you ready, guys? Because we are going all in. Today's episode is so unique. I sat down with a girlfriend of mine on Instagram Live to have a really raw and vulnerable conversation. And it was so powerful and so good that I said to her, I need to bring this over to the podcast. My girl, Tracey Lee, she is a business empowerment coach, and she is on a mission to empower women to confidently transition from corporate careers to entrepreneurship. And in our conversation on our Instagram Live, we dove into all things around finances, money, financial literacy, the language of money. And she just really opened up about her own journey in being an entrepreneur for so long, but really understanding that she didn't know what she should be knowing about money. And it's time for her to get acquainted, start a relationship with money, and really start to build her wealth. There's so much value in this episode, and I hope that you enjoy it. It really warmed my heart, and there's so many good gold nuggets. So tune up. Love to hear your feedback from it. Leave a review, send me a comment. And if you have questions after listening to today's episode, drop me a line on Instagram. My DMs are always open at SheLeads.
And so I'm really excited. Tracey, this is my girl. Hi, Tracey.
Hey, Bella. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Yes.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
How are you?
I'm so
okay. Well, first off, I want to know why you're pumped, but tell us who you are and a bit of your own journey and background, and then we'll get into some of it.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Tracey Lee. I'm a business empowerment coach for women. And I started a movement a year and a half ago called Get Out of Your Own Damn Way. So this is kind of perfect.
It is.
And, really it started from me being in my own way and following the masses, allowing my fears to direct and be my compass, and, continuing to play the victim card and just not being happy with the results in my life.
Right.
And, I really invested a lot in myself and getting clear on what the heck do I really want, giving myself permission to start asking for it, and then being open and courageous enough to actually ask for help. Yes. Because I think for a lot of women, we're terrified to do that because we have shame and blame and guilt and all this shit that comes with that. So I had to work through my own stuff, and through that, and always knowing I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've always been an entrepreneur, even 25 years in the corporate grind that I'm absolutely grateful for. I started my entrepreneurial journey 6 years ago, and it has moved myself into stepping in, helping other women use their voices, being empowered, especially at this age. I mean, I'm in midlife, but early, to late 40s, stepping into their 50s, like we want to start owning our lives in a whole new way. And, a big part of why I'm here, Shay, is because a huge piece to this stepping into our next chapter, owning our lives, creating our lives by design, our careers by design, because that's what I really help women do, is step into this new chapter of their careers and start their businesses, is we have to change our relationship with money. We have to change our role when it comes to how we see ourselves, as an investor, as a woman who deserves to build wealth, not just make a paycheck or work your ass off as an entrepreneur to make money to get by. We're here to do way more than that. And full transparency, I'm the girl who's gotten by. Right. And, I have really been, in the last several months, having these deep conversations with myself saying, I finally feel worthy enough to say, shit, it's time, Tracey. Like, I see my children, you know, I want them to learn from me to build wealth in their early 20s. And I feel responsible for them and responsible to set myself up for the next chapter of my life that is going to be expansive, exciting. And I see all these people around me on this train of like loving money and enjoying what it's bringing them. And I'm like, well, I have to stop waiting for my knight in shining armor to bring me that train, because I've been married to him for the last 27 years and I love him to death. But guess what? This girl's got to do her shit and play a role in this. So you are my girl. I love you. First of all, thank you for having me on today. You know, you and I met years ago, and we met, you know, for different reasons that have continued to transform into what I think is going to be even more explosive in a relationship and how we can impact women together. And I'm just really excited to be, you know, be that woman that's like, hey, I got a lot to learn when it comes to building wealth. And I trust Shay, and I'm excited what you're going to bring to the table and show all of us. And I just can't wait for this new journey. So that's me.
Well, Tracey, I love you. And, you know, I think everybody can just feel your heart in the introduction and you sharing. And one of the things that I think is so powerful that's coming through for me right now, and I hope this resonates and that other women can relate to what you've just shared in being vulnerable. Like, you are an entrepreneur, you have been for a long time, and here you are. And this is what prompted this live today, was through your vulnerability of going, I know a little bit, but I don't know enough. And we can always learn more, including myself, right? Like, I'm not a self-proclaimed like expert, you know, I'm not like, you know, there's so many other people I look up to in this world around wealth, investments, investors, and a lot of them have been my mentors. But the point is, we should always be wanting to learn and elevate and evolve ourselves. And so I think it's so beautiful that you're vulnerable and willing to share with other women right now on here who are going to go, hey, me too. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a small business owner, or maybe I'm even a big business owner, but maybe you actually are scraping by or just making it work and not really understanding the language of money, tax strategies that could maybe be helping you save more revenue like that has come into your company or into your business, how to shelter that, how to compound that. There's all these different things that we should know. And even you just brought up like your partner. And I just want to say, like, regardless of the status of your partner, whether they don't have anything or they're uber wealthy, I really believe that it's our duty as women and as individuals for us to be independently secure and creating our own freedom. And when you can do that, you show up in your relationship completely different. And it actually elevates your relationship with your partner, because now there's not this like one stress or pressure, which is typical, right? Traditionally, in a household, there's one person where it's the breadwinner, and there's that pressure that they're the one that's leading the household, they're driving the finances, therefore they're making the decisions. And what a beautiful thing for you as a woman to go, I want to own this piece of my life. I want to level up. I want to learn. I want to evolve. I want to elevate, so that you can then start contributing to your household in a completely new way that you guys have never been able to do before. And that for me is like so exciting. And I can't wait to see just even where you're going to be in 6 months from now by learning some of these foundational principles that we're going to go through next Wednesday in the audit workshop. And this is part of why I'm doing this, because conversations I've been having over these last 6 months, more and more, I've known it because I've been a female in business for 15 years and I've worked with many different women coming through real estate and different life journeys and stories of starting out single, you know, when I was in my early 20s and you were single trying to figure it out, to then women who are kind of in your age bracket, right? In their mid 50s, maybe going through a life crisis of a divorce, and that breadwinner took care of everything. They took care of all of the finances and even the credit. So all of their credit cards went under that one person and they were supplementary. The phone plans went under that one person and they were supplementary on that. meaning they have no established credit.
Mm-hmm.
So now at 55, you're trying to go out, whether you're trying to rent a property or you're trying to get a mortgage, you have no established credit in order to be approved for loans. You have nothing for a landlord to look and go, yep, she's going to pay her rent on time,
Mm-hmm.
even if you have a lot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can be a very nerve-wracking position to be, that no female should be in, no
Mm-hmm.
person should be in.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about the women, because men have won for a very long time, and I am very pro man, and I think there's such a beautiful, powerful relationship when man and woman get it right together, especially in terms of finances. But it is so important for women to be winning. And I also believe, and I know you believe this too, that the more money that moves through the hands of women, like good women, the more we actually see our households transform. Because women are, it's in our DNA, even if you're not a mom, we are nurturers. It's just in our biology. We are nurturers and we're caretakers. And so when a woman is strong financially in that, she's able to nurture the home from a way different position, way different energy, which changes the household, which then changes her kids, changes communities. It has this ripple effect. And that's just where you start seeing literally nations can transform when good women are financially stable and they can create their own freedom, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I'm so done with, money being the decision maker for us to do what we want.
yes.
And because we're nurturers and we're givers as women, what we want, like when it comes to careers, is actually life-giving.
Yes.
Like we want to move into life-giving careers. And if money is keeping us from doing that, we need to start to decide why that is the case. And I think, for me, having these conversations, like, because I've been in this mindset of just internally deciding I want to choose differently. Just that decision alone, I want to choose differently. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that means. I don't even know who's going to help me. But I made this internal decision in my heart and my soul. I'm like, I want something different.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I see you come up with this. And so I think it has to start internally. And I think we avoid the things that are things that we feel like, well, I've had it all wrong already, or I'm in this circumstance right now. So how is it ever going to be any different? And so we avoid anything that could possibly help us start on a new path. And so what I'm hoping is maybe I can be that trailblazer, because I've seen so many women as well, Shay, talking to me, and maybe they want to work with me, or they want to start something new and they're excited. And then they look at their bank account or they look at the money that isn't coming in, and they don't see the possibility. They see all the impossible. And, if more of us can just start having these conversations and inviting everybody in at every level, because I think a big thing is, you know what? I got mountains of debt. So who am I to even consider investing?
Totally.
Who am I to even think that that is something that I get to do?
Yeah.
And I really hope that we can change, and I say we, meaning I'm willing to be the guinea pig. I'm willing to be that person that's like, yes, you freaking can, because I've been that person when it comes to starting a business. I can be that person when it comes to starting investing. And when you have someone like you, who has been advocating for women in the most powerful way for well over a decade, when it comes to human trafficking, and really putting yourself out there and changing the rules, being the woman who is actually disrupting conversations. I don't know a better woman to be having these conversations with personally. So I am so excited that it's you. And I really hope that, I don't care if you're a woman who is literally on welfare right now. I, as a young girl, was on student welfare because of my situation at home. Yeah. Anybody can make it. Like, I know there's this story that is about, I think it's in Think and Grow Rich, and he literally was living on the streets. Yeah. And he became this most incredible restaurateur. Yeah. And when he was interviewed, people said, how did you do this? Like, how were you able to go from living on the streets and all of a sudden become this person? And he said, I was always that person. just because I was living on the streets didn't mean I wasn't that person. And I am working on envisioning myself as this woman who is literally experiencing wealth the way my birthright had always given me,
Yeah.
and it's getting into that mindset of shifting that. So yeah.
And you know, and that's the right word too, is shifting the narrative and starting to break down the taboo around women being able to talk about business, finances, money, investments, strategies, and not just like the good stuff, but like the hard stuff where you've effed up and like where you've screwed up. Because I can tell you, and there's some powerful women on the live right now. Kiera, I see you. Ashley, I also see you, girl, like you're on here. And you guys know, when men are in a men's circle, whether that's like at a cigar lounge, whether that's in the locker room at the gym, whether it's on the green playing golf, these are the trade secrets, is kind of what I call it, that they openly talk about. The boys club, right? Like about how they're making money, the new investments that they're doing, the banker that they're using. Like they openly talk about this. And women typically, it's not that like we've been full outright shamed to it, but culturally it's not been the rule, right? Like we were in the home as the nurturers, and I should take that back. We were shamed. I mean, women who broke out of that wanting to be in the workforce were very much ridiculed, right? Like there was like a strong period of time where women who wanted to work were seen as like horrible women because they didn't want to have kids and they wanted to go into the workforce or have kids and work. And how can you do both, right? And so I think sometimes for women, it's harder to engage in these conversations because subconsciously, you might not realize that on the conscious, on your forefront, but subconsciously, we've all been conditioned with different things based on how we grew up and what are even our parents, right? Like you might be listening right now and go, yeah, like that's not me at all. But I would encourage you to think of like, well, what was your parents? Because your parents probably had a very similar view to what I just explained because of just that was the generation. And if you go one generation back, that was absolutely the generation. You know, like your grandmas were like, they didn't work, they took care of the home. Like that was like their role. And so that gets passed down without even realizing it. And what you were exposed to as a child, if you can think back to your first memory around money, you know, being in a toy store, you know, and asking for a toy. And what was your parents' response, mom or dad? Can we afford it? Can we not? Were you just given it because there was like an abundance of flow? But there's an energy there and there's a feeling as a child that you start learning around money, and we condition ourselves. And based on that is going to be whether or not we're comfortable to engage in these conversations. And part of on Wednesday, what we're going to go through, this is like one of my favorite things, is what I call like doing the work, like doing this deep work of going into your inner child. And we're going to see like, how do you identify with money? You know, is it the feast or famine? Is it the hoarder? You know, there's different archetypes, if we will. And if you don't know which you are, then it's going to be challenging to ever change the narrative, to change the paradigm, right? Because we need to rewire the story and we need to release it. And there's an older version of yourself that has kept you safe thus far. The brain is like trying to keep you safe. And that's out of the most loving thing that your body subconsciously can do. And it's to acknowledge and go, I love you for doing that. Thank you for bringing me thus far. But who Tracey is right now, who Shay is right now, I'm proud of you for being here. Even if you're not where you want to be, that older version has brought you to this point. So we need to like honor that version and then say, celebrate today.
Yeah.
Celebrate Tracey for everything you've accomplished, for everything you've done. And then go, yeah, future me, I am so fucking ready, right?
Absolutely.
I am ready to become wealthy. I'm ready to create it. And like the wealth, this is for me personally, and I think all women need to find their why. It's not because of having more money, but it's the freedom and the feeling and the ability that you actually get. And even just to be able to do good in the world, you know, like you need money to make an impact. You do, you know, and there does come that point. And so it's going, okay, the future you, who is she and how are you becoming her now? What steps do you need to take now in order to become her. And she cannot wait to celebrate this version of yourself, the current one that's making the decision. You know, for you, Tracey, it's showing up into the audit workshop next week, you know, and I should say, if, you know, you want to join, there's a seat for you. DM me the word audit and I will send you the registration link so you can register. But for Tracey, this is a first tangible step that is going to be building your foundation into heading into the right direction of becoming her, becoming that powerful woman of freedom, of wealth that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that without having these conversations. And so, you know, Christina on here right now, she's commenting in the live, and, you know, obviously she's in real estate as well and can relate that you're seeing a lot of this in real estate business. And that's my primary, right? Tracey, as you know, me being in real estate for 15 years, I've worked with so many women where I'm going, basic things that I cannot believe that you don't know, that you don't understand. And I'll give a story, actually. I don't know if I told you this, but I'll just bring it up because it's a really, really good, clear example of the importance. So I was doing a, what we call like a listing presentation walkthrough of a house. Before I can give you an evaluation, I come through, I take notes on your home, I ask questions. And so I was going through, and the wife was taking me through the house, asking her questions, writing notes down. They've lived in the home for 20 years. Okay. We go downstairs to the basement and I say to her, is the hot water tank rented or owned? Now, depending on the company, depending on what city you're in, a hot water rental tank might cost you anywhere between $150 to $250 a month, give or take. She says to me, you know, I don't know. And I was like, again, I was like, this is why I need to do the audit. Like, how do you not know? You either have $0, meaning you own it. You either have $0 for 20 years, not leaving your bank account, or you have $150 to $250 leaving your account every single month, and you don't know about it. Even if you're not the one responsible for paying the bills, as a woman, you should know all money coming in and all money going out, and why it's going out and where it's going out to. You should know that. You should know passwords. You should know where the bills get paid. Like, this is so, so important. And so this is where, if you were to ask her where she thinks she is in their wealth or in their finances, could be a very different picture to where they actually are, because of one simple thing. And it made me think, how many other things go on in your household that you just might not know about? And it's not anything to say that there's, you know, something bad between their relationship, but it just goes to show you there's still this there's so much separation between partners. When partners, that's a very strong word, almost like teammate, you should know what's going on your team, right?
Yeah,
And
I think, and you know what too, Shay, like we fall into roles, right?
yes,
And we
yes,
fall into roles based on what we know, based on what we've taught, based on what we've experienced with our own families and our cultures. And we kind of follow those rules.
right.
And so the challenge with that is, though, is we're not being proactive in our lives by following those rules, because, you know, I think there's always the key pillars, right? And we want harmony in all those pillars. So there's your career, there's your health, there's your finances, there's your family, there's your relationships. There, you know, there's different areas of your pillars. And if those aren't working in harmony, if you're not playing a role that you are satisfied with, that you're proactive with within all those areas, something could come out of nowhere and then it's going to catch you by surprise. It could be your health, it could be anything, right? So you want to be really clear with, like, am I being proactive in my role within that part of my wheel, my life, my pillars? And, you know, I think for women, we haven't been taught, like, even numbers. Like, I think about math, right? And girls and math, you know?
Yep.
And like, we've always, I mean, I've always told myself I'm not good with numbers. I sucked at math in school. Okay, so that's fine, but does that mean that I don't know my numbers as a business owner?
Right.
Well, you know what? It actually has impacted me. Why has it impacted me? Not because I can't acquire the skill, because I've avoided it, because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
And you know, so all of these things are uncomfortable. So we avoid the things that are uncomfortable until they become so uncomfortable that we're like, holy shit. And, you know, for me at my age, and I really invite all women my age, come into this conversation, because if we keep avoiding, when is it going to be so uncomfortable that we actually do something about it? And I'm just not interested in waiting until that point happens anymore. You know, I want things to change now. So in the next 5 years, I am looking at my portfolio of wealth going, whoa, this is friggin' incredible. And all it took was changing my narrative, starting to learn and acquire a skill. I think this is like, we can acquire, we're smart.
Totally.
Like, we just need to acquire some new skills, because there's a gap, right? I'm here, I want to be here, and I need some skills. And, you know, I think that if we can look at this from a place of, I just want to get to the first step, because there's a huge staircase, right? So they might look at you, Shay. I mean, look at you, and you've been doing this a long time, and, you know, you have so much success in your life. And, you know, I honestly, when I first met you, I thought, oh my God, who's this woman? Like, I was intimidated. I didn't think that I was deserving of being in your company. And that's how much I've grown since I met you. And now I'm like, we actually are here to support and work together, and starting to own my power. So everybody, own your power, like own your power, and say, I want to be more powerful. And when someone presents an opportunity for me to learn something in a community, right? So I think you mentioned it earlier, you know, maybe our husband's this, or like, if we don't have the community to support this conversation, chances are you go to your workshop, you learn it, but then how are you really going to implement and make the changes? So community and these conversations and can you imagine talking with other women about wealth on a regular basis, what that's going to do to your subconscious? All of a sudden, you're going to start soaking that in. You're going to be more excited. You're going to get one little result, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, you're going to get another little result. And then you're going to become, this is how you change the story and the narrative, right? So like, this is all the stuff I'm excited for, because I think sometimes, you know, we are like, we want instant gratification. And if we don't get it right away, then we're like, forget it, it's not working. And I'm really stepping into this with a mindset of, I'm a beginner. I know nothing, and I'm open to learning, and I'm excited to learn, and I'm looking forward to taking one step at a time, because I really truly feel like I'm learning to walk again. This is me learning to walk. You know, all the things that I've done some things well, I've done most things not so great, but I'm not going to show myself like any more guilt around that. It's, you know, love, compassion, gratitude, forgiveness. Those are the words I'm choosing to step into with this conversation.
100%.
So,
well, you know, Tracey, like, even just like hearing you share, and again, I don't know, you ladies, like, if you agree, just drop like a heart in the comments. I'm just so grateful for your vulnerability. Again, I know I said this earlier, and I'm saying it again, because even just with you sharing about, I've done a lot of things good, and I've done more things not so good. And I always say, like, the mess is in your message, right? Like, if you do everything perfect, which doesn't exist, and anybody that says that is, like, they're full of shit. Like, don't ever listen to those people. The best people to listen to are the people who are like, I have so many things I've fucked up on, and these are all of the lessons, and I'm going to tell you how to avoid that, and I'm going to tell you how to get to where I am now much quicker because of all of my learning lessons, which I don't want to use the word failure. If you're going to use that, I say like fail forward, right? But it's the lesson you've learned from them. You've created the experience, and that's actually where your power lies, is because you've had the mess. And it's in your message. That's the power, you know? And I also just want to say too, like, as an encouragement, because, you know, you're in your mid 50s, and I think that's encouraging to so many women of different walks of life, because no matter where you are, whether you're in your early 20s or you're like approaching 40, like me, I turned 40 at the end of this year, you know, or you're in your mid 50s, doesn't matter where you are. The point is just to start, you know, and you can always start making money by starting. But if you don't, then you're shit out of luck. You know, the sooner you can start, always the better, right? And consistency wins every single time. So if you're in your 20s and you can nail some of these disciplines and you can start learning and applying that knowledge and learn and apply more knowledge and learn and apply more knowledge, to be rocking by the time you're Tracey's age, you know, like rocking. And even myself, I was just saying to my boyfriend the other day, you know, I'm approaching 40 and you just shared some very beautiful things about me. And I'm really grateful for it, for you sharing that. You know, it's very kind of you, but even myself, my 40-year-old self approaching looks back on my 20-year-old self and goes, I would do certain things differently so that I would be in a different place than I am right now. But like I said earlier, I thank that version of me for bringing me to this point. And me too. Shay's ready for her next evolution of her own wealth. I'm ready to explode to a whole different level of what it means for me as like a wealthy female and creating wealth. And this drive and this passion, and you brought it up earlier, I've been advocating for women and freedom for over 20 years. And you cannot have freedom, true freedom, without having finances. You can be happy with nothing. That's absolutely obtainable. You can, but you can't experience true freedom. And so that for me, when I look over the last 20 years of my like life's work and having all of these conversations with women just in these last 6 months, but then the 15 years in real estate going, we're still missing it. And it's time for women to win. And I want to help women elevate to their next level of growth and where they need to be and laying down this foundation for them to become a wealthy woman. And there's so much abundance in this world. There's so much. And energy. Money isn't even real. It's all energy. And that's part of it too. And we're going to dive into that next week on Wednesday during the audit workshop, that we get so caught up on this physical thing that literally is losing its value every single day. Okay. Fiat currency is losing its value every single day. And so when you start to learn how to manipulate money, because it's energy, and that's the currency, is actually the energy, then you're able to shift and cultivate and call in and manifest it that much easier. You create this ease and flow. But if you don't change your relationship with how you've thought about money the whole time, that's going to be harder, you know? So we're going to dive into that. But I just think it's so beautiful, the conviction and the passion you have right now, where you're like, I'm like a baby. I'm like learning how to walk again. And it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter the stage of your life. It's just, the point is to start doing it right now, you know?
Well, the alternative is either you choose to change your mindset or you choose to stay where you're at.
Right.
And that's there is a black and white to that conversation with myself and with anyone who's listening, because, you know, we like, there's things that I teach in my coaching, and I just did a post actually today, and it's acknowledging where I really am, being honest where I am. And that requires a lot of accountability to actually do that. Like, I have to be accountable to myself to say that. But that is actually the most empowering thing you can do, is to hold yourself 100% accountable for your circumstances, because, and it's a hard pill to swallow at first, because you think, oh, but that happened and I didn't choose that and I didn't choose that. Here's the thing. If you hold your space, your role in your life, that everyone else did things that caused you to be where you are, then you have no power. So this is about me no longer avoiding, right? It's like we avoid the dentist because you don't want to, it's like, I'm just done avoiding the things that I don't like, because if I continue to do that, those things are going to own me. It's the outside world that owns my next step, and I'm no longer allowing that to happen. And money is a vehicle to get what we want in life.
Yes.
It's not the thing that we want, you know? It's like someone wins $1 million and they were broke. Well, guess what? They're probably going to be broke again, because they're the same person they were when they won the money than they were before they won the money. So to me, this is allowing us to experience transformation, ownership of who we are, and that is what is going to attract more opportunities to create wealth. And I think I attracted this conversation. And here's something I know about ideas too, and this is for you, Shay, to really own this right now, is ideas. You know, everything in our lives, you look around your space right now, every single thing was an idea. Money was an idea. And so when there's a collective energy of people desiring something, there's going to be someone that is going to be attracted to that desire, and they're going to get the idea in their head to do something, and then they'll have the courage to say yes and do it.
Yep.
And that's what you're doing right now. So there's a collective of women saying, I want someone to walk with me on this path. And there's lots of people doing that.
Sure.
But we're going to be attracted to you because of you and who you are and what you're bringing to the table. And for me, what you're bringing is honesty. You're bringing transparency. You're bringing your compassion. You're bringing your courage. And you're bringing your advocation for women from such a deep-rooted place that you've always had. And that is so powerful. And, you know, every conversation gets to be expansive, whether it turns out well or it doesn't turn out well. That is just your perspective. And for me, if our perspective on money is like money is holding me back in life, then that's your choice. If you want to shift your perspective and go, money is opening up doors,
amen,
continuously for me, then that's the conversation I'm choosing to have, because I know it's limitless. And I know it's so hard to believe that because we can't see it. But ask yourself this: in your bank account, do you actually physically see all that money, or do you see like all the money on the stock exchange existing? No, it's just energy moving from one place to another. So at the end of the day, do you want to sit on the bench or do you want to play in the fucking playground? I'm ready to play.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And you know what? Like, the energy around fun, and when you're saying play, like, fear creates scarcity, right? Fear drives out abundance. Fear becomes paralyzing. And so in order to actually have the flow and magnetism coming to you, there needs to be movement. There needs to be positive energy. There needs to be fun. And like, there's a saying, you may have heard it before, that money loves attention. I like to say like money loves passion, you know, like, and attention's a little more, not, what's the word, self-serving, but egotistic, maybe is what I'm looking for, right? Like, is it like a little more like showy, egotistic? And so for me, I'm like, I like to say like money loves passion. And it's like, when you can become excited about money, become excited about opportunities, and you're expanding like your viewpoints and changing the narrative, just exactly what you did. And that's what we're going to do, is like a reframe, is like, either money can be what's holding you back because you're afraid and it's scarce and it always walks out the door and then you don't know where it's coming from, or money is the thing that opens up the doors and brings in more and comes with it, and with ease and flow and joy. And the more we ease up, the more that it comes to us. And so I absolutely love that you just shared that. I love that.
And it's being in the flow of it too, right? Yes. Like, even from the point of view of, you know, celebrating small little bits of money coming in. Like, all of a sudden, you know, you go and someone buys you a coffee. It's like, whoa, how, like, that is, you're in the flow of the giving and receiving, and that's beautiful. Or when you're going to go pay a bill, for me, it's like, you know, instead of the way I used to be, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to pay this bill, or where did that come from, or that unexpected bill. I received something, and I get to repay that for the beautiful stuff that gave me. And honestly, those little things that might seem so woo-woo to people truly puts me into a space of gratitude. And if you know anything, gratitude is the highest, next to love, is so high in its energy. And it just can take you from a place of feeling like a victim to a place of feeling so full and fulfilled and joyful. And when you're in that state, that is where you attract all the little ideas that can open you up to money. So I know it's there, but here's what I don't know, Shay. I don't know what to do with money. I've had opportunities where I've had abundances of money in my wheelhouse, and I fucked up. And I no longer want to fuck up. And I know money is flowing, and it's like, okay, what do I do, Shay, to ensure, as a woman in business, to ensure as a woman at my age, that I am now crafting a plan that I am excited about, that I have a place to put my money, right? Because money needs a home. Money needs attention from a place of intention, from my perspective. So I want to treat money as this beautiful opportunity that I'm guiding the way I want to guide it in my life to create the life that I want to create. So that's the part I'm really excited about for you to help us and be our guide.
We are going to completely unpack some of this next week. And I shared with you a little offline, and I'm not going to go into it today, but you know, my mastermind is coming in September, and we're going to be taking 3 to 4 weeks to just be talking about investment strategy, compounding effects, tax shielding, all of this kind of stuff. Because my rule of thumb is, if there's something you want and you get all of this money, and actually, like my boyfriend, he's on the live right now, and this is a real story. We just had a conversation today. As you guys know, we're like in tax season, and so we're doing taxes, and you know, he's like, babe, we've got some money coming in. And I'm like, that's amazing. And both of us, like, gratitude is the attitude, like happy and thankful for that. And even with opportunities, I'll just pause for a second. Even with opportunities, even before you've received the money, and I'm in commissions, my partner's also in commissions as well. We can show up to get a client and we might not get it. But I'm always like grateful just for the opportunity. Like, thank you very much for the opportunity, even if we don't get paid on it, right? Because that elevates the gratitude. It elevates your frequency, and it's telling the universe, I'm open and I'm ready to receive more, and I'm grateful for more already, you know? But going back to what I was saying, you know, we're going to be getting this money, and the first question that most people, or first response most people have is, great, how are we going to go spend it, right? That's usually is like, how are we going to go spend it? Are we going to go on a trip? Are we going to go on a shopping spree? And you can celebrate your wins, like celebrate, but take a portion of that. And this is what I said, we can decide if we're going to take a portion of that, but we're going to invest the rest. And once we start cash flowing from that investment, then we can celebrate proper, because now that money is working for us. And we're not spending that money, we're investing that money to work for us, so that then that vacation that maybe we want to go and take is that much sweeter, because it's actually already paid for itself, and our money is now still sitting in the investment and making us more money while we're having margaritas on the beach, wherever we are.
Exactly.
Right?
This is exactly the game I am excited to play. My money is working for me. I'm no longer working for money, and I'm investing in assets, not liabilities. And creating that cash flow that just keeps feeding those assets
100%.
Instead of me, you know, just getting by or going and spending money and feeling shitty about it because I shouldn't have done that and I should have done this instead. I'm kind of done with the this or the that. I know it's not about being greedy, and I know it's not about being selfish. I know it's about, this is actually the way money's supposed to work. We just haven't been taught it. And so, you know, and so whatever stage you're at, like, I mean, again, I'm in my mid 50s. I'm almost 55.
Yeah.
You know, I could sit there in shame going, I should have had this figured out. You know, my kids are like, Mom, like, teach us about money. I'm like, you don't want to be taught by me, but now I want to change that conversation and go, you actually do. Yes. And so I'm reading right now, and I wanted to read this years ago and I never did, is Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes.
And so, you know, it's crazy. Like, I'm literally going, fuck. Yeah. I had it all, most people have it all wrong. Yeah. And so it's like, do you want to keep having it all wrong? And if you don't think you do, well, if your results are making you happy, cool. But if they're not, then there's probably something to change. And that's kind of just the easy conversation. So, you know, I think that this workshop should be filled with thousands of people, because I really, but I believe that, you know, like that's the truth. And, you know, any of my people that are going to be watching this, truly, like, let's bring, I challenge everyone to come to this workshop and bring a friend. Because to me, that's paying it forward. That's paying your courage forward to help another friend be courageous enough to come and have this conversation with you. Because how amazing is that? And I think, you know, women coming together in sisterhood and unite, this is how we move the world. This is how we change. And we can't do this by ourselves. We're not meant to live life and be successful on our own. To me, success on your own is super boring. It's way more exciting doing it with people, and people that you care about and people that empower you. So yeah, I'm super pumped. Yeah. And I had this crazy idea today, Shay.
Tell me.
Oh my God. I will be telling you
Okay.
later.
Okay.
It's nuts. And I think it's all been inspired by all of this. So yeah,
Oh,
I'll
I
talk to you
love
later.
that. Well, I can't wait to hear the juiciness of that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. Well, I'm so grateful for you, and I do think it's a phenomenal idea to bring a friend, like share this live. Obviously, we're gonna both have this on our feeds afterwards. Like share it out with a girlfriend who you know needs to be there, or even like if you've got kids that are in their 20s as like women, or even like my niece. My niece is gonna be turning 17 in September, and she's already like, Auntie Shay, I want to learn from you. I want to come out there. You know about money. Like she's already starting to think very differently than a lot of her friends because I've been able to just mentor her as she's like grown up. And so I would even say to the moms on this, like if you've got, you know, children that are 17 to into their 20s, they're so welcome to come on here as well. They should be doing this. You want to start training your children young to start looking and thinking about money completely different, you know, and building wealth. It's not about getting rich, it's about building wealth. And there's a really big difference. We don't have time to go into that today, but just trust me, there's a really big difference on that.
Mm-hmm.
And this workshop is going to be the first foundation laying that then you're going to be able to build off of. And come August, I've got another workshop coming up that's going to build off of this first one. And then, like I mentioned, you know, my mastermind is going to be coming up. But I'm really excited. This is like a whole, not new, but I'm packaging it up really kind of for the first time. You know, you and I, we've had conversations around business many, many times. And many of the women on this call like have heard me speak and talk and at events and panels. But this is the first time where I'm creating this in like an intentional container for women to win, for women to start thriving and move from like survivor mode to thriving mode, and really embodying what it means to be a wealthy woman, to then become her and create that freedom. So
Yes.
the audit's going down next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. DM me the word audit. We want you to register, save your seat. And like Tracey said, bring a girlfriend, share this out, bring your daughter if she wants to come. Would love to have her there. And Tracey, again, I'm just so grateful for your vulnerability, for you opening up and sharing and being willing to come on and just openly talk. Like you're such an incredible woman for doing that. I know so many other women can relate and are probably sitting there going, yep, that's me. Yep, I'm like her, you know? And so I thank you so much for just sharing.
Well, I think, you know, as a coach for women, it's important for me. There's too many people that are making everything look really easy. And, you know, we are meant to make it look easy from a place of we've walked the talk, we've done the work. But, you know, I'm really about, you know, living your best life isn't easy because we're facing things that we don't want to face, and we're unlearning and we're breaking through barriers that we didn't even know were there. That's the hard part. Learning all these skills, we can do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the transformation and the building wealth is much more empowering than getting rich. Building wealth is something that we feel like when I say that to myself, it's putting your stake in the ground. It's building your wealth, building your life, building your legacy, building your vision, right? Building your business. Like building is what we want to do. And when I think of building, like when I talk about with my clients, we want to build the foundation. So I'm excited to build a solid foundation that I can then continue to nurture and grow and enjoy and benefit from. So I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be so good. And that was a perfect way to just kind of end. I can't even believe we've basically been like an hour.
I'm not surprised.
Tracey and I were like, we're going to come on for 20, 30 minutes. But like, I know, who am I kidding? I mean, we could still keep going. We could totally Joe Rogan this and just like do 3 hours, you know? So I just love it. And, you know, I will just say one thing, because the way that you also explained it just now was like, it's the difference of doing something for yourself, whereas building wealth actually transcends you. It's bigger than you, right? And when you talk about legacy, that's building a life of significance and it's passed on, right? And that's where you start talking about generational wealth. And so that has a ripple effect into those next generations that you are raising up and then that they're going to raise up. And it then gives you a purpose. How many women and men don't know their why? They don't know their purpose for why they are here. And the only reason around wealth is that's not the only reason to be here, but it is certainly a very strong why to expand your purpose and to expand why you get up in the morning, right? It gives you a much, much bigger reason than just being rich and having that car that's a depreciating asset and isn't making you money, you know? So like, yeah, I love what you just said because it is about building. And for me, this all feeds into my own why. You know, this feeds into my purpose and elevating women and seeing women win and creating freedom, which is our birthright. It's all of our birthright, men and women, you know. So I'm so excited to have you in the audit on Wednesday. If you guys have questions, please send them in to me because I will definitely be going through them in the workshop. And then obviously if you're in there, we'll go through that together. But if you have questions, DM me. My DMs are always open. And yeah, I think that's
Yay! Yeah. I can't wait. Awesome. I love you, Shay.
I love you too. Okay, ciao, Bella.
Talk soon. Bye.
Okay, my friend, I know that this episode was an IG Live and you might have been listening going, I wanted to be a part of that masterclass, but the time has come and gone and I want in. I want the financial path to empowerment. I want to learn. Give me the audit. Well, you are in luck. You can catch the replay by clicking on the link in the show notes, and I will give you access to the 26-page workbook that you can download and you can journey along at your own pace in this incredible masterclass where you are going to get so much value and you're going to start to build your own foundation around financial wealth and literacy. You can also send me a DM on Instagram with the word audit, and I will send you the link directly so that you can register and get plugged into the masterclass. Thanks for tuning into the Freedom CEO podcast. If you got value out of today's show, I would love for you to leave a review as it will help my show reach other people as well. You know what to do. Download this episode, click the like and subscribe button. If you feel like spreading more love, hop over to Instagram and share today's show in your stories. Remember to tag Shane Vidiata and the Freedom CEO. My DMs are always open, so drop me a line. I'd love to connect. Until next time, keep owning your decisions to live a life of freedom. Live a life you love.